Okay, ready to go live, ready to go live. It tells me it's setting up the meeting, so awesome. Here we are. We're live, we're live, we're live, which is amazing. So, what I want to say is absolutely contribute and make your comments. And I'm actually going to add a public comment right now so that I can make sure that you can also comment. So feel free to ask questions. Like at any time, if you're seeing this live, even better, if you're not seeing this live, then that is fine. It's perfectly all right. You can still ask your questions and put in your comments in there. So you need to, whenever you need to ask anything, just feel free to do so. Don't wait until the end. We have 1 hour for this. So I want to get right into it because we have some absolutely amazing stuff to cover today. So, but first, let me introduce myself. And we also have people joining on Zoom. So I want to make sure that you guys are all connected. So because we just started, I want to let everybody know again, anytime you have a question, go ahead and ask it. For those of you attending on Zoom, ask it in the chat box at any time. If you're on YouTube Live, again, ask and comment at any point in time. And I'm keeping an eye on this. So just to make sure, I will just look at this right now. Okay, we have 2 people watching. If you want to ask questions, go ahead and do it. All right, so my name is Roxana Radulescu, and I am the Chief Game Changer and founder at All Personal. Now, All Personal is a training, coaching, and consulting company, the first Canadian GC Index partner, and I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later, and also a chart e-learning solutions partner. So that means 250 plus e-learning courses on leadership, customer service, and sales. I'm also an emotional intelligence course designer and facilitator, and I do create my own online courses as well. My background is 15 years in corporate learning and development and working for top legal consulting firms and teams. And I'm also honored to be part of the TEDx speaker roster. I'm also a podcaster and contributing author. I love learning. I love writing about learning, and I help people learn better so that they can develop themselves personally and professionally. I really believe it's all personal and nothing is just business because they really go hand in hand. So, but we're not talking about me today, are we? We're talking about this. What we're going to go through are some top current issues that people who manage other people and teams today, and I'm really, really focusing this on people who have their boots on the ground, really mid to senior managers who have to deal with teams and projects and issues and challenges every day, and who need to manage both their team, themselves, and their direct boss, their direct manager. So this is what we're going to talk about. So we're going to have a look at the top skills that bring you back in the driver's seat, the importance of self-care for high performance, and I'm giving you some self-care techniques. And then at the end, we're going to talk about how you can build, engage, and motivate your team for the long run. And I have a surprise for everybody watching. So stay with me until the end, and I'll tell you more about it when we get there. All right. So top current issues, and these are some questions that I got from some of the dream bosses that I have the pleasure to work with, and I've had the pleasure to work with them in 2020. So looking at the first question: how do we build our team for the long run while the world around us changes by the minute? That is, I don't think that is going to surprise you. So that's one. Another one is how do we support and motivate and help each other grow so that the business grows? And this is another thing that we'll be addressing today, why people challenges are business challenges and how you can manage that. And how do we scale our team and bring the right people who are aligned with the culture, with the values, goals, and existing team, so that we grow the business through uncertainty? Because we all know the cost of a bad hire, and we also know the cost of good people on the team who leave the team. And I'm not talking just about the financial cost, I'm also talking about psychological costs, right? How do we feel less anxiety and stress and more in control and productive? And then how do we bring in more diversity and creativity so that we build innovative solutions? Because, hey, we still need to serve our clients. We want to grow the business, but we have to serve the clients differently because the reality around us changed. So that is why we need creativity. Creativity doesn't refer only to artists, right? We need creativity so we can find creative and innovative solutions for our customers. Now, my question on top of these is, who's taking care of you? You, as managing your team, managing other people, managing your boss maybe, or your business partner, or at least from time to time, managing yourself, your levels of stress, anxiety, and challenges and everything. You maybe are also managing your team family. Who's taking care of you? Where are you? Where do you fit in all of this process? How about your dreams? How about your growth? How about your development? So we're going to answer this question towards the end of the webinar. So again, stay with me. But until then, all of the things that we're covering are going back to this question and showing you how you can start taking care of yourself, because that is who needs to take care of you. Number one, you're the one who needs to take care of yourself. So let's look at some of the top skills that we need to train for right now for 2020 and beyond, 2021 and beyond, so that we feel like we're taking back control over our emotions and actions and results. That's huge, especially when the environment around us changes all the time. We go basically from one change to the next. So if we're still waiting for things to get back to normal, time never goes back. It only moves forward. So we need to constantly learn to adapt to what the next day brings. So here are the top 5 skills in high demand, which if you master, you're going to be okay. I don't believe in that. And I have to say, anyone that tells you, here are the top 5 skills, you learn these and you're good to go, that's a myth. And here's why. I'm going to show you. Okay, so I can put the top 5 skills, right? I can show them to you here. Adaptability, I don't think that comes as a surprise for you, right? People management, no surprise there. Change management, time and project management, and business mindset. Well, I don't think any of these top 5 skills surprised you in any way, especially in this kind of environment, right? But just look at this, and I'm going to give you an example of why I don't believe in this myth of just top 5 skills, because under adaptability is huge. When we define adaptability, and by the way, think about how you define it. When you think about it, what do you see? What do you think about? What that means to you? Because it can be, I've put here emotional intelligence, and I really do believe that that is the starting point. And I'm going to explain in 2 minutes why. Self-care and creativity. And these are just three other skills that go under adaptability. And then we have people management. Well, under people management, let me tell you, we have communication. And communication, you already know how huge that is and how many things are included in communication. You have verbal communication, written communication, body language, tone of voice, pitch, eye contact, virtual communication, face-to-face communication, everything. So we can split into so many things. And when you talk about team communication, it goes on to a whole other level. Teamwork and collaboration, these are, again, they might be working hand in hand with communication, but those are also separate skills that you can learn. So whoever tells you, okay, these are the top 5 skills that we're looking for, always know that underneath those just 5 skills, there's a whole lot of work. And I think if we put this into the context where we want to be successful in the things that we do, and especially at work, success overnight actually doesn't exist. It really takes a lot of work for us to understand what these skills are all about and then start practicing them until we've mastered them. There's a whole learning journey from just the initial session where you find out about stuff all the way to mastering those skills, because mastering them means I'm able to apply them over and over in everything that I do. It's like driving. Think about, for those of you who are drivers, think about that. How was it when you first learned how to drive a car, and how it's been after 1 or 2 or 3 years of driving? You don't think about all of the stuff that you do, you just do them. And this is what happens with our skills as well. When we master them, we just do that because it's natural, because we've created that habit. So what I can say about leadership and management skills, these are the critical skills that I find are really, really crucial right now. And as you can see, and this is, by the way, this is one of my e-learning modules. Um, and what I'm saying is, whatever you decide to do for your personal and professional development, start with emotional intelligence first. And then you move on to maybe understanding what coaching and mentoring is all about, and how you can coach your team and coach yourself for better results. Expertise and employee retention, career development, both for you as the team manager or team leader and your team. Responsible initiatives, change management, time and project management. These are crucial skills to have right now. And see how we started from just 5 skills, and then I'm taking you through 8 modules that actually also include all of these concepts and courses underneath each of them. So again, nothing that helps us feel and be successful, nothing that is important to us and that helps us move into the right direction, nothing like that comes overnight. That means a whole lot of work. And if you think about managers and leaders that you like, that you admire, that you appreciate, they have been through all of these learning process themselves. But again, if you want to start somewhere, I honestly encourage you to start with emotional intelligence. And I am going to tell you just a little bit about it. I talk about it extensively in my emotional intelligence course, But what I wanted to share with you here is why that is important and understand where it fits with your personal and professional journey. Because really, the thing about skills is that they're not going to say, hey, you can't use me here because you only learned how to do this for work. You can't use me at home. Well, actually, let me tell you how great coaching skills are for people at home, for parents, or for even when you talk to your partner. It's a different approach when you know something about how you can drive a conversation and use your coaching skills. But I really love this quote from J.D. Meyer, Director of Innovation at Microsoft. And it's really because it gives the definition of emotional intelligence in a nutshell, where he says a lack of emotional intelligence is what limits some people in their ability to manage themselves, manage others, or manage situations. That is what emotional intelligence is all about. And here's why I say it's important for your career, not just for your career, but we're focusing on professional development here. Because according to this study, nearly as much as 80%, now 80%, that's huge, of the reasons why careers are derailed can be traced to weaknesses in emotional intelligence. 80, not 18. And here are the three primary causes of career failure: poor interpersonal skills, people who are not good team players, and people who have difficulties in handling change. Now, I don't want to discourage any of you here. I'm just giving you some stuff to think about. But I also want to give you the three predictors of career success: dealing with a diverse range of issues, managing emotions, and managing social skills. Now, these three are all part of mastering emotional intelligence. That's why I'm telling you, you want to start anywhere, start here. Because this is going to help you understand what the best next step for you is. Because it all starts with ourselves. And here's the thing, again, I talk about it, and this is the last thing that I'm going to cover about emotional intelligence, but it's really important. I cover it extensively in my course. But here's why. Because emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. The minute I'm aware of how I act and react in all sorts of situations, what triggers me, what makes me anxious, what stresses me, what makes me angry, what makes me happy, and how I react to that, when I start to understand that, I start to recognize, identify my emotions and my reactions, that's the moment when I can also manage them. There is no self-management without self-awareness. First things first, I need to notice stuff about me so that I can manage. So when we talk, remember when we said we're going to see how we can manage or take control of our emotions and actions and results. Well, taking control of your emotions means self-management that starts with self-awareness. So whatever you do, notice what you do, how you do it, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and if it doesn't work for you, how you would like to change it. And then we move on to the social aspect, to our interpersonal skills. We move on to social awareness, because when I'm self-aware, when I understand what goes through in here, that's when I can look around and understand how people might be impacted by one situation or another, why they might be frustrated, what they might be thinking, what they might be feeling, and be able to deal with that rather than ignore it. That's when I can develop empathy. We talk about empathy, we could talk about it the whole week. But that is when I understand that, hey, I need to pay attention to this and address it and do something, or at least be there to listen, because here's what happens to me in that sort of situation. And I might understand better why others people reactions are different than mine, and work with that rather than let that prevent me from doing anything. And that is when I can talk about managing my relationships. You want to manage your relationships better. And by the way, I told you this is the number one transferable skill that you can have, emotional intelligence. Once you've started to learn it and maintain it and keep developing it, you can use it both at work and at home. It doesn't have any boundaries. So you want to be a better manager of your relationships. And by the way, managing a team and managing people is mostly about relationship management. That's where you start. You start with self-awareness and emotional intelligence. That is it. These are the four pillars of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Because the minute I start to manage myself and understand how I can manage myself, that's also when I can transfer that over to managing relationships with others. So that brings us to the importance of self-care for high performance. See what the connection is? We started from self-awareness and we talk about self-care. It just is like right now it makes sense. Or right now it makes more sense, and it will make even more sense after that. First off, you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to take care of yourself first. If you want to help others, you help yourself first. It's like the oxygen mask on the airplane when we used to be able to travel. But hey, you know what I'm talking about, right? So here's the thing. And by the way, this is a photo of me running the Bucharest half marathon back in 2013. One of the lessons that I learned is, hey, you really need to prepare yourself to run long distance if you want to keep doing that long term. And that made me think, first of all, because really life is a marathon, not a sprint. And I know with this crisis, we felt like this was a sprint, but it's not. We cannot keep sprinting over and over again, because that will get us exhausted. So what I want to say here is, think of yourself as a high-performing athlete. Because here's the trick. High performance is not just a word. It's not about just high performance. It's about the high performance cycle. It's a whole cycle. And I told you, I wish I knew as a long distance runner that I needed to know how to prepare myself so I can keep running year after year after year. I don't run half marathons anymore because my knees don't allow me to. They hurt because I didn't know how to prepare for not just long distance, but long term. So high performance is a cycle. It starts with preparation. It goes on to performance, and it goes on to recovery. And then it's not, and this, by the way, can be mixed. I mean, it doesn't end with recovery, because from recovery, you go back to preparation and performance and recovery. It's the cycle that we're talking about. And we talk about it from three perspectives: emotional, physical, and mental. Like, think about it. High performing athletes. Think about athletes who participate in the Olympics. Now, the Olympics are every 4 years, whenever the pandemic doesn't hit us, and then it gets rescheduled. But hey, That's another thing, right? How do you prepare yourself for that? So the Olympics are every 4 years. That doesn't mean that the athlete starts preparing a week or two or a month before. It doesn't go this way. They need to prepare themselves continuously throughout the 4 years up until the time that they're actually going to perform at the Olympics. That's how it goes. And then during the 2 weeks of the Olympics, that's when they need high performance. Because that's what gives them the results that they expect. Now, what happens during those 2 weeks of competition is they might be having a bad day today in the competition today, which doesn't give them the result that they expected. But the thing about preparation and recovery is that that gives them the possibility to pick themselves up and to know what to do to be able to pick themselves up and then have maybe the best day ever the next time that they participate in a race or in the competition and win it. It's all of the physical and emotional and mental preparation that they do and the ways in which they can recover so that they can perform at high levels on the next race. And you can definitely make this parallel and use this analogy for your work. Because, and absolutely think about people in your team as high performing athletes as well. And I'm going to give you 7 laws of self-care for high performance. And you can definitely add to this if you have more. But number 1 is you don't participate in the Olympics 100% of the time, right? What you need to do, though, is know how to prepare and how to recover and how to perform on a constant basis so that when you need that peak of performance, you're ready. You cannot expect yourself or your team members to be on 100% of the time. That is not realistic. Second, you need to take care of yourself before you can take care of your team or of others around you. Because that goes hand in hand with 3. The way in which you deal with yourself is going to have a direct impact on how you deal with others. Whenever we're tired, when we're exhausted, frustrated, that's when we get triggered easier. And that is when we are definitely going to have an impact on the people that we work with. I don't have to tell you that. I don't have to convince you of that. I'm sure that you know that stuff already. This is why noticing and becoming more self-aware of, okay, maybe like I feel exhausted. I can't focus right now. So why keep trying to focus when it clearly doesn't work? Just take a break and then come back. Structured, consistent work on yourself. That means that you can understand how you can help your team or your business or organization long term. It's like my example with running half marathons. You need to know how to prepare for long term, not just sprints, not just one-offs. We're going to hit this goal and that's it. And then because we're getting the results, we feel pumped up and then we want to go to the next one. But you have to ask yourself, how long is that going to make me last for? How long can I keep doing this the same way without risking injuries? Long-term high performance includes preparation and recovery. So think about, when you think about high performance, you also think about that. It's the cycle. High performance does not stand on its own. Prepare now to prevent injuries later. I think that's quite self-explanatory, but I think managers, leaders, and organizations that don't address this now will definitely see the results, and not too late. It's going to be sooner rather than later. Because really, and this goes hand in hand with number 7, people challenges are business challenges. Because if everybody's burnt out and they don't have any time and they run out of health, then who is going to be left to run the business and to do the work? Who? And what will productivity look like then? So we're talking long term here. We're not talking just sprints. And that's why I say that this is where the power of habit comes in. And I really love this quote: motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. And for those of you who are looking for ways to motivate your teams and your people, there's only so much that you can do. What you need to do is create routines and habits, new habits and new routines for you and your team to keep that motivation and to build on that motivation, because we cannot really motivate others. We can only help them and support them to find the kind of intrinsic motivation that we want. That's the motivation. We can motivate them financially or take them somewhere, have some fun times together, and that will reward them for as long as it lasts, but then it goes away. The real motivation that you want to get in yourself and in your team is the intrinsic one, when I find that I am motivated. I know that I'm motivated and engaged. I feel that. So for that to be able to happen for you, and I'm really encouraging you to share this with the people in teams that you're managing as well, or your family. Like I'm telling you, in these times, team family is another team that we need to take care of and be part of. So we have daily routines. And when I say daily routines, I really talk about morning, day, and evening routines. And then you need to be able to work with them and try them out and see what works for you. So I'm going to put them here. And these are some ideas that you can try and see how that works for you. If you haven't tried them yet, that is. Now, the thing about creating a routine is that it doesn't have to be an hour long every day, right? You can do 10 minutes meditation today. You can do exercise. You can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever works for you. So, but rather include that in your schedule and do it, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes today. It might be half an hour tomorrow. Work with what's possible rather than not working with anything at all. Why I include power poses here, and I will actually put some links in the description of this video. If you haven't watched Amy Cuddy's TED Talk on how body language shapes our mind, I really encourage you to do it. So I'll post the link in there. And why I think power poses are important is, first of all, they literally help us change perspective. Think about it. When you're sad, when we're sad as people, typically we behave like very low energy. The body language is as if we're just sinking in the floor, and we look down because when we're sad, we don't want to communicate. I'm sad. I'm here with my sadness now, or exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm like super low energy or no energy at all. And then when I do a power pose, you can do this. See what happened? What happened is I went from this to this. I'm looking up. My perspective literally changed, because instead of looking down, I'm moving to looking up. And I'm doing this, which gives me more energy and balance and makes me shake that old energy off and get some kind of new energy. That is, and by the way, if you need a change of perspective and a change of energy, do that. And you can try out any kind of power poses, right? This is the Superwoman, Superman, superhero power pose, right? There are others like winning, or you can do the power pose with your hands on the desk or on the table, your feet up on the desk, all sorts of power poses that help you feel empowered and more energetic and give you a totally different perspective. Now, at noon, you can also take 5 and simply appreciate yourself, right? And do power poses again. How many times do we think about all of the things that we haven't achieved or all of the things that could have gone better, instead of just taking 5 and saying things like, oh, I was quite productive today. I'm so happy that I finished this. I'm really proud of how I worked up until now, or how I talked to my team or to my client. And then breathing exercises. And I'm also going to put links to breathing exercises in the description of the video as we finish the live, because breathing exercises help you relax. They help you get even more energy and different kind of energy. They also help you with speaking differently, especially I recommend some breathing exercises for when you have early morning conference calls or client meetings and we have that rusty voice in the morning and sometimes it's not helpful. You can do some breathing and speaking exercises in the morning to warm up your voice a little bit and get you into that kind of energy that makes you feel more confident and more enthusiastic about that discussion. And then in the evening, just think about the 5 things, maybe 3 to 5 things that were great that day. Listen to a meditation or read. Whatever you do, get off your device an hour before bed. First of all, because of the blue light, because it doesn't let us get into that relaxing state that we need to get quality sleep. And second, because when we're scrolling down like that on our phones, our dopamine and adrenaline levels go high. And again, they do not let us get into that state where we get the quality sleep. We're looking for that now, because think about it. How can an athlete perform well at the Olympics if they haven't had a good night's sleep? They can't. Okay, so my call to action is choose your morning, day, or evening routine, and then schedule that in your calendar. As I know you're busy people, right? And what I find the number one obstacle is I'm so busy, I can't do it. If you find yourself saying that, that's when you need it most. So what I encourage you to do is to schedule your routines together with all of the other activities. Don't split them. Don't make them separate things, because your private activities are now business. They're your business. They're super important because they will keep you going and keep you high performing long term. Again, we're not looking for sprints here. So schedule them in your calendar depending on what's possible for you that day, right? You need to align expectations here. Again, you have only 10 minutes today, fine, schedule 10 minutes. You have 30 minutes tomorrow, fine, schedule 30 minutes tomorrow. You have 1 hour on a Saturday, schedule it. Whatever you do, start with a 30-day practice. And during this 30-day practice, monitor what works and what needs to be changed. And then on the next 30 days, you embed those changes and you schedule them. And whatever you do, allocate 90 days. Because here's the thing. It's true that it takes 21 days, a minimum of 21 days to form a new habit. But to actually integrate change and habits, that takes longer than that. It's the journey that we're talking about. The first 30 days are going to be hard. The next 30 days are going to be messy, and only the next 30 days are going to be beautiful, because that's when you're seeing results. Again, you're looking for meaningful results. You have to allow time for that to happen. It's like going to the gym, literally, with forming routines and habits. And it goes the same with for your skills as well. Is that you have to give them time to grow so that you can use them. You can't expect that that you're gonna go to the gym once or twice a year and then you're gonna be fit, right? We don't expect that. We don't expect to see the result after one time of going to the gym. Why do we expect to see results when we do the work on ourselves? When we talk about personal and professional development, why do we expect results after one training session? I I don't have the answer to that. It was a rhetorical question because I don't think we should expect results so soon. Okay, so that's my call to action for self-care. And I think now it makes a lot of sense as to why self-care is so important for high performance. And by the way, why it is so important for crisis management as well. I'm going to put these links also in the description of this video. So I'm waiting to see if you guys have any questions before we move on to building and motivating your dream team. Because remember, we started with the top skills that we need to train for. And again, allow them to unfold, allow them to grow, allow the skills to really embed in your work, in your activities. Practice, practice, practice. And then we talk about self-care and why that's important for high performance, and why that's important for when you're building and engaging and motivating your dream team. Because the dream was this, that you're going to be a dream boss, that you're going to have a dream career or a dream business and build a dream team. And in the meantime, the risk is that it turns into a nightmare. We don't want that. So we talk about the power of the team, the power of team leadership in the long run. And I want to start here with the new future of work. Because really to create change, we need to change the way that we've done things. And I think we've already done a lot since the whole crisis hit. But really, what are we going to do now to make sure that we can keep it going long term? So I wanted to share a study that WeWork did on work from home impact. And here's what they found in the interviews that they conducted. 90% of the people said that they wanted to return to the office at least one day per week. So now you can think about, and by the way, you can share some of your preferences of working. What would you like to have, or what's going on in your team? But think about it, it's just, this is the 90%. You can think about the rest of the 10%. They maybe don't care. They work very nicely from home. But 90% said they need at least one day per week in the office. Out of these 90%, 20% said that they wanted to return 5 days a week. That's huge. And that tells you how different we are and how we have different working styles and working needs. Some people need to connect more and they feel they connect better face to face rather than just virtually. Some of them work just fine from home. Some of them would like this alternative schedule where I can work from home, I can work from the office, I can work from anywhere. So it goes even further into suggesting some solutions. And again, because we talk about long-term business success relies on creativity and and innovation that come from productive collaboration. Well, we talked about that when we talked about the skills that we need to master. And creativity and innovation really are the one of the top, because they also help us adapt. I mean, think about it. Once the crisis hit, it's creativity that helped us manage that crisis situation. We had to come up with amazing new ideas and fast. That's what a crisis does compared to a simple change. With change, you can plan for it, you can test, see what works, what doesn't. You have a longer time to adapt. With crisis, you have to adapt almost on the spot. Teams need flexibility for collaborative work. And think about it, just in the way that people prefer to work. Some of them at the office, some of them at home, some of them from a coffee shop, right? That calls for a lot of flexibility. And we need to prioritize health and to allow for culture building. And when we talk about health, by the way, we talk about physical and mental health. This is where culture building is super important, because we are building the culture. People build the culture, not the other way around. You build the culture at work, especially if you manage people in teams. You are building the culture of that team together. So it's up to us to know what kind of culture we want to be working in, what kind of culture we're building that allows for people to feel included, to feel that they matter, because that is how they will feel motivated and engaged. So here are some ideas for productive collaboration for you and your team. And I want to start with this. I really believe that in teamwork, silence isn't golden, it's deadly, because, hey, teams who are not ready to communicate, and I'm not saying just, superficial communication, challenges, frustrations, celebrate successes, um, insecurities, uncertainties, discussing them, that goes with having a real team in place, having fun together or crying together. That is what makes a team powerful. I mean, you can't think, for people who watch us from Canada and especially from Toronto, think about when the Toronto Raptors won the championship, the NBA in 2019, they were crying and laughing together. Successful teams are able to do that. I've had, at some point, I was working with a team and I was talking to their manager, and he told me, well, look, my team is not ready to talk about these challenges and to share these challenges. And they were on their own team retreat. And I told him, look, in this case, I'm sorry to say, you don't have a team, you have a group of people who work together. Because when you have a team, they feel safe when they discuss, and they know that they can discuss anything, because they're not going to be punished for not knowing or for, I don't know, making a mistake. They will have this support system in place. It's almost like a family. And think about it, like the time that we spend at work sometimes is longer than the time that we spend with our family, even now when we work virtually, or more so now because we work virtually. And the 9 to 5 doesn't exist anymore as such. So for communicating with your team, you need to think about formal and informal communication, because I really do believe that in every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. And when we talk about formal, I'm sure you already know and are doing this. What I want to say here, don't make all of your meetings video meetings, because sometimes people don't feel comfortable with that. And you have to prioritize between having people really being able to participate in a discussion or not. So I'm going to give you an example here. If you have parents on your team that take their kids to school in the morning and you have an early morning call with the team, they might be able to join your call if it's a phone call, if it's a conference call. And from on the way back from school, right? Because they have their headset, they can join the call, no problem. They don't need an internet connection. You cannot expect them to join a video call while they're driving. You don't want them to do that, right? So also for people who are kinesthetic communicators and learners, and so basically people who need to move to think, what they need to be able to do is be able to move as they talk to you, because that's how they can also come up with creative new ideas. And there might be some of you, you might be doing this. You're on the phone. What do you do when you talk to somebody and you're talking about some stuff that interests you and you come up with ideas? I've seen people walking up and down the house like that when they're on the phone, and they really participate. But don't glue people to their chairs or to the desk all the time, because that, first of all, it's not healthy. And sometimes it's not productive, it's not creative. So you have to have a mix. And then informal, the world is your oyster. You can have virtual lunches, coffees, parties, right? You can still do that. Group chats and phone calls where people communicate offline. I really love virtual working sessions when you just work together. You don't have to talk to and keep staring at the screen at each other. You just know that your team is there. And we work together for 1 hour or 2 hours, whatever we scheduled. But I know that if I have a question, I can ask it. Hey, where is that document that we need to, where did we save it? And I'm going to get an answer immediately. I don't have to type it. I don't have to text it. I'm going to get an answer from somebody on the other side of the screen. It's like sharing the physical office space, but you sharing it virtually. Or I can just say, hey, I'm going to go grab a coffee. Who wants one? And then I might not be able to give you a coffee because you're on the other side of the screen. But what that does is you will probably say, oh, yeah, I want one. And we're having coffee together in real time. We don't have to, again, be glued to that one spot. We can work together better. We communicate easily. And we have that sense of belonging and support, and we feel less isolated. So it's all about balancing stuff. And I find that the more we go through this, the better we are at communicating informally as well as formally. So for team resourcing, another important thing is knowing what your people are good at and paying attention to them, because that increases productivity. And I'm not going to insist on it. I'm going to put here some questions that you can look at and really try to find some answers for you as team leaders, team managers, or even team members. These are awesome questions to ask about your team and what your team needs to do. And it's also important to understand that we're different, we work different, and how that happens, how we work different, so we can actually maximize our impact and our productivity. And there's all sorts of personality measurements that we can talk about, the DISC, the Belbin, the MBTI, and those are fine from an individual perspective, an individual personality perspective. The GC index is one tool that comes from Game Changing Index, by the way, that measures impact. And why I love it is that it profiles the way in which people feel most engaged and energized when it comes to making an impact upon their work and upon the world in general. So that is very nicely linked with motivation and engagement. because that measures, and there are 5 ways in which people have an impact upon their world, but they also come in different types of combinations. So you would have game changers who come up with original ideas naturally. That's their inclination. The strategists who make sense of the ideas. The implementers are the ones hands-on who make the ideas happen and build them. The polishers who make those ideas brilliant, and the playmakers, they orchestrate the future and they help everybody work nicely together. And I'm not gonna insist on it. I'm gonna give you an example of how Nike used the GC index and measuring impact so that they can motivate and engage people on their team. Because Nike's maxim number one was that it is their nature to innovate. So it was easy for people who were idea focused on the top level of the screen, so game changers and strategists. It was easy for them to engage with this maxim and to feel motivated working at Nike because they could resonate with the innovative nature of the company. But what about the more task focused people, the implementers and the polishers? It was easy for them to feel a little bit more disengaged because, hey, I'm not innovative by nature. I'm not the one who comes up with so many creative ideas and thinks about possibilities. I'm hands-on. So it was super important for these people to understand, hey, but you know what? Your impact that you help others build something that nobody else built, or improve something that already exists, or make those ideas happen through new relationships. So that gave them a framework, an aligned language that they could all understand. Hey, you know what? I might not be a game changer, but I really am making my contribution in this team because I know how and I understand how. And that goes back to what I was saying before about intrinsic motivation. When you go into this stuff, and that's why I love using a lot of assessments, and this is one of the assessments that I've used most, especially during these times, because they really help the team understand, or even individuals understand, hey, what makes me feel motivated and what doesn't. And it immediately explains why. Because here are the main characteristics for each, and I'm not going to insist on it because we're going to run out of time. But when you think about these 5 categories, and if you look at these descriptions, you might already think about yourself and where you might fit, and about people on the team and where they might fit. This is why it's important to work with ourselves first, because again, the minute I understand how I work, that's when I will be able to make the connections with people that I work with. So and by the way, if you want to get this assessment and go through it, message me and we can connect and I'll be able to help with that. I think knowing what your strengths are that motivate you, and then taking that back to the team and helping them understand that gives absolutely wonderful results in terms of high performance and productivity. And that's why I'm saying people challenges are business challenges. So the more people challenges we solve, the less business challenges we have. So going back to motivating your dream team, make sure that you know what your role is and business impact is, and then understand motivation and engagement triggers, because that is how you reduce burnout, demotivation, frustration, and that's how you end up the string of losing great team members. The minute you understand those triggers, that is huge, because you realize how you can keep everybody involved and engaged. accommodate those styles. That's why it's important to understand how we are different and how that's good, that's not bad, because it gives us more, it brings more for the team and for the business and for the organization. And whatever you do, focus on purpose. That increases collaboration and maximizing individual and team potential, because we all know where we're heading. If I don't know where we're going, how can I contribute? How can I make my contribution? Sorry about that. See, getting reminders after reminders. That's another um, distractor, talking about triggers. Okay, now what about your motivation and engagement? And really, when we talk about that, and I have the surprise coming up in a minute, find your tribe. Having your tribe where you don't feel isolated, where you don't feel judged, you just feel heard and understood, and you know you can learn the stuff that you need to learn, and also brainstorm and engage and discuss and feel supported wherever your tribe is, because you can't always go to your team to discuss your challenges, or to your boss to discuss challenges, or to your family to discuss challenges, because all of these people, they have their own challenges as well, right? And as a team leader, you can only discuss with your team some stuff. But what about the other stuff that I don't need them to worry about because they have other stuff to worry about? Where do I take that? So I have this surprise for you, and it comes as an answer to my question: who's taking care of you and how? Join the Lead for Legacy League. This is what I can say because this is a global community of continuous learning and support. This is where you get brainstorming and networking with peers and assessments and strategies for you and your team. And you get access and discounts to 250 plus award-winning online courses in leadership and sales and customer service, and regular group coaching. We're there as a team, as a support team. We have Q&As and discussions, and also guest speakers from various industries to inspire you as well. Speaking opportunities for you, for those of you who want to speak. And as we're building this league together, we're going to add so much more. But the main component is that it's global, it's a community. You get access to a lot of learning that helps you prepare, and a lot of discussions and support and brainstorming with peers, and also networking. I think especially now, it's important not to feel like you're all alone and you're not discussing with any other people apart from your direct team, your boss and your family. We need to be able to get out of this isolation if we want creative and innovative ideas. So I have two options. One where you're getting the full 8 modules: emotional intelligence, coaching and mentoring, employee retention, career development, responsible initiative, change management, time and project management. By the way, the time management is free. And the good thing about that is that you're getting that for a whole year. So you don't have to do them right away, right? Because it's not how it works. And then we take them in the group and we discuss them and we debrief and we have conversations that help you put that knowledge into practice. And then the GC Index individual assessment and one strategy session with me, where we really go through it so that you understand the power of it and your power in working in your business, in your organization, and in the team. And the special discounts to all of the 250 plus online courses and modules. And then in the community, you get weekly league meetings, and we get self-care. So some stuff that we discussed today about self-care for high performance, we do that and we discuss that and we help you embed that in your and create a routine. Events and group coaching, brainstorming, networking, library materials, and special discount in monthly group membership. Now for option two, it's pretty much the same thing, only that you're getting only three courses. You're getting emotional intelligence and the free time management and another course of your choice, right? And you can pick and choose. If you have any other needs, definitely contact me, reach out, and we can see what are the options that work best for you. The important thing is that you get the technical knowledge of how you can manage yourself and your team and people better. And also, you're getting the support from a community that cares and that doesn't judge, but is there to support you and brainstorm with and network with. So these are the two options. I will definitely put the link with more information about the league. We start on November 16, so that is in 3 days. Hurry, because I have super special prices right now for founding members. And after November 16, the prices will go up for new members who are joining. So reach out to me, let me know what options interest you. If none of the two options work for you, let me know what are some other of your needs. Share with people that you think might benefit from being part of this global community and learn with and from this community, and absolutely keep in touch. So I will put the link for you to be able to join me. Again, the special offer is to start on November 16. And if you bring a friend, you get a 50% discount for your monthly membership. So that's awesome. And by the way, this is a discount, again, for founding members. So the discount is going to decrease after November 16. If you have any questions for me now, I'm happy to answer them. I'm looking and I don't see any comments yet. In any case, I will definitely put all of the links in the description of the video. Thank you for joining me. Ask your questions, make your comments, reach out, and